been quite a long couple of days. I thought I'd do a little update for everybody and just get everybody on the same page as to what my thoughts are. Several people have reached out to me and have asked me about my reaction, my thoughts on the whole Kavanaugh and Christine Ford hearing with the Senate Judiciary Committee. And, there's a lot to say. There certainly is a lot that went on in the past couple of days with Miss Christine Blasey Ford giving her long emotional testimony, and then obviously followed by Brett Kavanaugh, who gave a very long, very thorough, and very strong testimony, which I fully support and was glad I was able to actually listen to it in full. You know, a lot of people already know where I stand on this. I mean, there were a couple of moments that stood out to me in Thursday's hearing, sort of, with a lot of the stories that were brought up by Judge Kavanaugh, plus a lot of the women who had testified, to his character, to the type of person that he was, with a lot of character references, just a lot of information from his past that completely refutes the fact that, of all the allegations that Miss Ford has come forward with. Now, although I won't say that Miss Christine Blasey Ford's testimony was in any way invalid, I'm sure that a lot of what she is accusing Brett Kavanaugh of is indeed false, and that is my opinion on the matter. Now, again, obviously, if you've watched what has happened after Friday's Senate hearing, an FBI investigation is now underway because of someone like Jeff Flake, who, unfortunately, I did not see that coming, but after having watched it live, I went, gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I mean, all it would have taken is just a Senate nomination vote, which I would like to think that after that hearing was adjourned, that's what they're going forward with. But it looks like it's going to be 1 week of an FBI investigation. So we'll just have to see what happens with that, The thing with Kavanaugh, and it was reiterated so many times in Thursday's hearing, was the fact that the FBI is just going to come back with the same data that they already have. The FBI effectively does not come to conclusions. They generate reports, they interview witnesses, they interview, the people, the people involved, the different parties, and it's essentially going to just be no different from what they already have. What I fear is that, and what a lot of people also obviously fear, is that this is just a delay. This is just obviously a way to kind of parse out the vacancy as far as possible so that he doesn't indeed get voted into the seat. And the sad part is just the amount of stress and all the trouble that people have to go through just to prove that they are innocent, It's almost like the testimonies of over 60 women who knew Brett Kavanaugh don't measure up to just the 1, 2, 3, or perhaps even 4 women who have come forward and accused them of sexual assault, which witnesses there have completely denied. They have no evidence for. There are so many holes in their stories. I mean, when you got people like Michael Avenatti, the creepy porn lawyer, who's bringing up the story that he apparently ran a gang raping circuit back in college with a couple of his other buddies, whether he was directly involved or not, is absolutely ridiculous. There's no evidence of that. And the fact that now we are bringing into the, picture the concept of yearbooks, of the slang and of the particular nicknames of certain things that went on in high school is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the fact that they were just combing through the yearbook pages just to find any dirt on him, accusing him of being a drunk or somebody who would drink too much. Well, everybody in high school drank. Everybody in college drank, That being said, even if he was a belligerent drunk, that does not tie it to the experiences that his so-called victims have spoken of. And that's the most disappointing thing, is that, I saw senators from both sides of the aisle in the committee both talking about so many different things and revisiting the same questions over and over again. I mean, there really is no concrete, credible evidence, no corroborating evidence, as a lot of them had said. And with that being said, the nomination should proceed as scheduled. They should go forward with it because there really isn't anything to refute it. As a matter of fact, from the accuser's point of view, my opinion is that they need to compile the corroborating evidence. Kavanaugh does not have to defend himself in the way that he did, compile all these witness statements, all of this background information on his integrity, his character, drag, so many women and friends and close people to him, all to this hearing just to prove that he is innocent. If anything, his accusers should show up in court, his other two accusers, and also present concrete corroborating evidence against him. And that's why this is so long and painful for so many people, both for Miss Ford and for Brett Kavanaugh. And it's so unnecessary. It doesn't need to be like this. And now it almost seems like there's a delay because of the FBI investigation that is underway. So, some highlighted moments. I liked seeing Lindsey Graham definitely stand up and speak his mind. That definitely was a good moment. And it was nice to see him really call out the issues, just the fact that this whole process is disgusting and that people can't even, reach a genuine consensus that this guy is innocent. I mean, there's no evidence. Even if there was a little bit of a smudge, right? There was nothing that was correlated to the experiences that Miss Christine Blasey Ford spoke about. I mean, even if he was in the same place as his victims, that does not mean, that's not conclusive. That does not mean that he was responsible for the assault. So we'll just have to see what happens. It definitely didn't help that there was a video that surfaced of, a couple of activists that essentially confronted Senator Jeff Flake in an elevator and basically pressured him. You could tell that the guy was definitely, under some heat, and even as he announced his vote and his position about, delaying the nomination for an FBI investigation, he seemed shaken. I feel like he was just pressured by Democrats. I feel like the Democrats basically cornered him in that private room of theirs and essentially either cut him a deal or pressured him to advocate for an investigation, which, we already know it's not going to do anything. They're just going to go back in circles. They're just going to collect information that we already know, and it's not really going to do any justice for the people involved. We already have all of that information. It's like they sat in front of the committee for hours and, hundreds of questions were asked. Those questions are going to be no different from what the FBI does as far as what they conduct. Now, they may have more specialized, different ways of going through witness statements and really conducting a thorough investigation, but are they really going to find anything if Kavanaugh is indeed innocent? Now, again, that is the decision, and that's what we have to proceed with. And, I am definitely interested in seeing what the outcome is. I do stand by Brett Kavanaugh, and I do stand by the fact that I believe that he is innocent. This whole believe all survivors thing has got to be put to rest because these are allegations that are being brought forward without evidence. Somebody could accuse me, somebody I don't know, a stranger could accuse me of sexually harassing them, and essentially I would be in the same spot. It's not the fact that I have to even prove that I am innocent. It's like, well, I know I do have to prove that I am innocent. They don't have to prove that I was in fact guilty of assaulting them. And that in itself is crazy. If this is the way we are conducting business here in the United States, if this is the way we are going about as far as due process is going, in the height of the Me Too movement and sexual assault and just victim mentality at the end of the day, is there any point even in evidence? Is there any real point even in a true justice system in due process? There has been no corroborating evidence. And on top of that, you have all these Democrats squeaking about in their seats, Dianne Feinstein essentially denying that she had anything to do with the leak of the letter, which, it's fairly clear that she sat on it for 60-some days with her team, and she was in possession of it. And seeing her outwardly lie just, on the seat is just disgusting. And we've got people like Senator Booker, who, is asking all these questions, yet he is a self-admitted person who has groped women in the past. How come his integrity isn't being questioned? This guy admitted to it, and yet we don't question his integrity. We don't question the integrity of Dianne Feinstein. We don't talk about Blumenthal, who essentially, is also in itself. I hate to be calling out people by name here, but Blumenthal has been a liar in the past. Why wouldn't we even bring to light some of the character flaws in certain people? And then when you bring somebody like Brett Kavanaugh to the table, who has an impeccable record, a man of utmost respect and integrity, none of that holds any water because a few people decided that they were sexually assaulted by him, and that's where it stands. Because they are women, because they are victims, and we should believe all survivors. Even if the guy is falsely accused, his name is being dragged through. I mean, we've seen this play out so many times that it's insane. Again, it's hard for me to really structure my thoughts and gather my emotions on how all of this has been playing out, but it's just so unnecessary where it is right now. And the people that are out there trying to rip apart his character, trying to bring him down, I mean, one of the amazing moments that I will just mention from the hearing on Thursday was the fact that, when they came back into the room, he actually apologized to, what was her name? That senator from Minnesota. You guys will get it. Put it in the comments below. Definitely somebody who is polite, has integrity, and definitely demonstrated. I also think that, Christine Ford also did her best, as emotional as she was. I mean, again, I don't really believe her, but, the fact that she showed up is a plus, and the fact that she testified before the committee is also a good thing. But we'll just have to see how things play out. I believe Kavanaugh. I believe that he's innocent. There's been no corroborating evidence, and I don't believe the FBI is going to find anything that we don't already know. It's just a waste of everybody's time and a waste of money and government resources. And just to drag this out another week is just cutting it close. It's putting more pressure on everybody, on the Senate, on the people who are, going to be the big determining factors as to how this plays out. And most importantly, it's going to put the families of both parties, of Ford and Kavanaugh, in just more stress. There's going to be more wear. Both their families have already been through enough. Both of these people have been through enough. The more and more I think about it, I just think that, Christine Ford is just a tool of the Democrats. And it's insane, It's like, on the other hand, I don't find her story to be credible. I won't go ahead and say that, she deserves to be locked up or anything. I mean, I don't think that she's telling the truth. I don't think that, her story is credible because there were a lot of holes in it. And granted, we all say these things like, well, it's because she's traumatized, so asking her about her experiences is discrimination. Well, you know what? If you're going to accuse somebody of sexual assault, you should have the evidence and you should speak up about it, because what else can you do? So, the fact that families are being ruined over this, the partisanship is really, really showing, especially with this, judiciary hearing. I think more so than even, a lot of people have argued more so than even the Clarence Thomas trial. I saw an interesting post earlier today, or I think yesterday, about, the Clarence Thomas trials was what converted Andrew Breitbart. And I've seen it in not only my own community, but a lot of the online platforms with a lot of news outlets, that a lot of people are walking away because of this. The Democrats are outright liars. Bribing, pressuring people. Jeff Flake clearly looked emotionally distressed when he said that. Not just with the victims that, shouted at him, screamed at him impolitely in the elevator, which I'm not denying that their experiences are any less, but what does that have to do with the case at hand? Just because somebody is innocent doesn't mean he is condoning the fact that sexual assault is a good thing. But that's what these victims are doing, is saying that, well, if you vote for Kavanaugh, you are essentially devaluing all of the victims. You don't care about sexual assault. You don't care about the victims. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Because if Kavanaugh is indeed innocent and there's no corroborating evidence, then real victims at the end of the day are going to suffer. Real sexual assault victims are the ones that are going to have to pay for all of this. And that's the saddest part. That is the biggest takeaway. Anywho, we'll have to see how things play out. I'm pretty disappointed with, how it all played out. It just kind of ended abruptly. Jeff Flake came back into the room, made his announcement, and that was it. They voted 11-10, and we'll just have to see what happens, you guys. I mean, this is just crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, thank you so much for coming back and checking out my channel. This is just a quick recap on the whole hearing and just some of my thoughts on it. Please do subscribe to my channel if it's your first time here. Leave a like, and announcement for all of you. I will be at the Walkaway March in Washington, so be sure to join us up in Washington, D.C. I believe it's the weekend of the 26th to the 28th, so be sure to join us there. Thank you so much for all your support and everything that you've done on this channel. I really do appreciate it. Again, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.